Business Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977.
Here we're back. We had a little move for there real quick. We just wanted to share with you a little bit tonight about some of the different things at the magazine and where we've been. We're getting ready to go into our 10th year, and we're pretty excited about that. Why don't you talk a little bit, Angela, about the beginning years and what you saw as far as how we just first got started.
Well, I was remembering we just actually breezed in from Quincy, Illinois, so that we're late, and so please excuse the little bit of discombobulation. Everything took a little bit longer, and going to Quincy, coming home from Quincy, there was a lot of farm equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how on time we thought we were going to be, you get behind some of that big farm equipment and you're not going anywhere. So, but it's all good because we need those farmers and we love them.
Absolutely, and a lot of rain.
And we had a lot of rain too. So here we are, and I often think about sports soccer very fondly because it was something that you had kind of had an idea about. People weren't really doing that kind of publication here in the area. You had a heart for high school sports, high school athletes, because you were one. When we dated in high school, Kirk was the one who was in every sport at all times. You just went from one sport to another, to another, to another. So I was on the golf team. And I was the track manager because I could get out early from school and grab McDonald's, and we would lay out, my other friend that was a sports manager, we'd lay out on the big pit, that big pit thing. I don't even know what it was. I was such a great sports manager.
It was the high jump pit.
The high jump pit. And we would tan while managing the track team. So I wasn't the sports enthusiast, but I knew that you had a heart for the high school athletes, and I also knew that it wasn't always about the best, the person who was maybe going to be the one who got a lot of scholarships and went on to do something semi-pro or pro, but just in sports in general, it was the students who would show up every day and put the work in and be a part of a team. And so that was kind of your vision, and I didn't really have a vision for it. I wasn't really sure where my where I was going to fit into all this because I just didn't have an athletic background, but I loved the vision. I loved the idea. And I do remember you didn't have a name for it.
Right.
And it wasn't coming, and you were praying about it, and nothing was coming. And then we had a tragedy in the family, and your brother had a brain aneurysm. And while that was happening, the idea of sports soccer we just kind of put it on the back burner because family comes first. And I think God really honored that. So we took our time. And then one day you just said, I feel like God gave me a name for this magazine.
Yeah.
And you said Sports Soccer Magazine, and I said, I love that name. I love it. And we started.
And what's kind of neat is I see Ron Mearns is on here watching tonight, and
that's a name from the past.
It is a name from the past. And the neat thing is that young man, and I'm calling you young man, Ron, because that's what we still are young, but Ron lived right over just on the other side of the block from where we lived in Salina, Kansas. And between Ron and my brother and I and a few others, we would go out into the playground, and I mean, we would be out there all day long playing either football, basketball, baseball, you name it. We were out there doing it usually about every day, all day long. So I loved that time, and loved that time with you, Ron, and was just, you as well as my brother and others helped make me better in doing the different sports that I did. So a shout out to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I think as far as the the love for telling the stories of student athletes like we have in Sports Locker magazine.
That's the new one, and I
That's
have
the
to
new
say
one.
I love it.
Yeah,
So pretty.
absolutely.
So beautiful.
Katie does a fantastic job with the photography, but it was, we wanted to tell the story of the student athlete. I mean, you've got the newspapers, you have television where, you're doing the up-to-date sports stories.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wanted to do from the very beginning was to tell the story of the student athlete, just some of the different accomplishments, some of the different struggles, what it has been that's motivated them, who's been their mentors or idols, different things along that line. And that's been on 10 years, 6 issues a year. We've talked to a lot of student athletes, and we're now covering 17 high schools, so we really get to know a lot of the kids, and some of them are very inspirational, and there's some of them that are kind of difficult at times because they went through some pretty tough struggles. So
yes, I remember we've always kind of thought outside the box a little bit. COVID changed everything, as we all know. And but before then, we did Special Olympics. Special Olympics are dear to my heart because when I was in high school, I did a couple of events just for special needs challenged athletes and people around Salina. And that's always been just something we've been connected with. And so those were always fun stories to hear about Special Olympics and what they were doing. So that was kind of a part of our past, and hopefully we'll throw that back in. But another one that was really interesting to me was one time I don't usually go on the interviewing process and the photo shoots, but I did because I went to the Missouri School for the Deaf. And I was with Kirk and our daughter Kate, who did photography. And so we did almost, I don't know, maybe a year with them, maybe 6 months. I'm not for sure. COVID just shut it all down. But we were highlighting Missouri School for the Deaf. And I was in that interview, and I walked away, and I just said, we're going to have to learn sign language. We all have to learn sign language. I was on a sign language kick. And, of course, we really all should learn sign language anyway. But that was fascinating and very inspiring to go to that school. And
and I think with that, one of the kids that we had on the cover was a football player, and you don't really think about some of the, I guess you would say, a challenge of how do you do as far as officiating and coaching, and how do you do that in football with a bunch of kids that are hearing impaired? And so, I mean, they had down a system where the kids were able to visually see, as well as they had some sensory things in their helmets that helped as far as being able to do that. So just absolutely fascinating, some of the different things that we learned. And I will tell you that when we were doing those interviews, it was very, very rewarding because, a lot of these kids, they were away from their families pretty much all week long. They bust them in, and then they would bust them back home for the weekend, and it was just quite amazing. So that was a very rewarding time.
Yes, yeah. I agree. And another thing I remember, this doesn't have to do with the interviewing process, but it's kind of part of what I did with Sports Locker. I did a stint in selling the advertising, and at Sports Locker as well, you might well know about us, we're not very pushy.
No, we're not pushy.
And so I don't have a lot of sales tactics. I just figure the magazine speaks for itself, the quality of it and what we do and our integrity. And so many times I didn't make the cut for sales advertising. Many times I would call.
That had nothing to do with me.
No, it didn't. It was me. I took myself out of that equation because I would call after just a couple of no's, and I would call from the dress barn, and I would say, 2 people have said no to me so far. I think I just need to buy a new dress. So That was my stint, sports soccer advertising. I love marketing, and I think about marketing all the time. But
one of the things that you did though from the very beginning, and we continue it through this to this day, is that you have you had on your heart from the very beginning to when we deliver the magazines to take a little kind of a small little gift or snack or something to give to the clients as we're handing out the magazines when the issue comes out. So for instance, when this issue came out, we'd go into the advertiser and we'd take in a stack of the magazines and we'd give them a little gift. Why don't you tell a little bit about that and why you like doing that?
Well, it started because we started the magazine with just a little bit, we used money from our savings, and then we had business people in the community that really believed in what we were going to do. And so the first magazine was completely paid for, and we were, I don't know about you, but we were so personally grateful that I said, we've got to thank them for doing this, for helping us and coming alongside us. And I thought, what could we do? And at that time, Alice Longfellow owned Longfellow's Nursery, and she was really on board with us. And it was pansy season, because I think it was in March when the first one rolled out. And so I talked with Alice, and we got bunches of pansies, and I thought, no, I need to have pots or something. And because we were a sports magazine, I decided to call all my friends and beg them for worn out tennis shoes and sports shoes. And at that time I found out that what is that? Wrestling guys are very superstitious about their shoes, and I didn't know this. So a few of my friends had wrestlers, and their boys would not give up their shoes. So I learned a lot about that kind of thing. But we in our garage, it really looked like a beautiful forest of pansies. We had all these sports shoes, and I planted all these pansies, and that was the beginning. But then, of course, if you know anything about publications and paper and print, you do it again and again and again and again. And so the second edition that came out, we were so grateful because it was paid for. And so I said, well, we have to thank them again. And it has not stopped.
Right.
And so 6 times a year, well over 100, I usually make at least 100 of something, just because, sometimes there's more than one owner, more than one group. And it's been fun. It's been fun to make those up and get them out. Every advertiser should have, could have. I hope they got them all, and we've learned a lot from just being grateful. And
a lot of the advertisers that we still currently have were with us from day one.
Yes, and that is an interesting thing in the publication world too. It's a little bit different. Might be just the fact that Jeff City is just that kind of a place. They support good stuff. Business owners are generous, and so yeah, I can go through and thumb through that magazine and say, wow, they've been with us almost 10 years.
Yeah. That's
awesome. So we're so grateful. So that was a part that I could play that felt like I didn't need to go to Dress Barn and buy another dress.
Yeah, that could have got a little bit carried away, and but you deserved it anyway.
Okay,
that's
well,
okay. That's
so.
good. What would you say, as far as, some of the different things like the photography and the design work, social media, the people that do proofreading, how important has it been to have that team of people around us, and what's that meant to you?
Well, I can say that what I've loved about the team at Sports Soccer is we're willing to change. We're willing to try new things. The photography has changed over the years. I think we have great photography. That's just I'm a little bit partial because our daughter has done it for so many years. Kylie Hartzler came in when Kate was gone, and she had a really unique style, very edgy. And so the magazine took a little edgy look because of the photography that was being done by Kylie. She did a fabulous job. And then Kate came back on. And the story about Kate actually was when she was younger, my mom did a lot of photography, a lot of outdoor photography. And Kate always wanted to, shoot things. And so mother would give her the camera and Kate would shoot below the hips. So we had a lot of shoe and, dare I say, crotch pictures, but that's kind of where the level she was. So those are kind of the pictures that we had. Sorry.
Okay.
And for her 13th birthday, we had a big birthday party for her, and we invited boys that year, and boys didn't know at 13 what to give a girl for her birthday, so all the parents just gave her money. And she bought her own camera. It was her first Canon, and digital was just kind of coming on the scene, and we wouldn't let her buy a digital camera. I said, you're going to become a real photographer. Anybody can shoot digitally, at least at the beginning with digital. Even I could have done it and probably produced something acceptable. So we wouldn't let her have a digital camera. If you remember, she was really faunchy about that until she could train her eye. And so I have watched the magazine morph over the years and really change to where she is capturing the personalities of the student athletes.
And while you're talking about that, I'll just hold up a few photos. You can keep talking.
Okay, well, and that's one thing I love about it. Kate is currently now designing as well. Miss Amanda, who's been with us from day one, is now doing some church work, and it's right up her alley. She was an educator, and so that was just near and dear to her heart, and her kids were in those stages, and so she moved on to that, and Kate has taken over Amanda's job, and I think Amanda has taught her well.
Yes.
And it's been a great transition. She and Amanda are great friends, and it's been a great transition. But Kate now, because of doing both the photography and the layout, is able to really capture the personalities. And that's what I love when I look through the magazine. I'm not going out anymore. I'm primarily working behind the scenes with doing the advertising gifts. And I'm able to look through the magazine and see personality of those students, and I know that's pretty neat. As far as our social media, we have a wonderful social media gal, Emily, and she was in our middle school youth group, so that's been really fun to have her as a grown-up now, and actually getting ready to have a baby shower on Monday for her with sports soccer. But she and I have done some really crazy things. Free donuts at Schulte's on donut day in the rain with lightning, and thinking, are we gonna have to eat like 800 donuts? We're gonna have to eat all these by ourselves. We pitched the sports soccer tent, which Jeff DeLong at Custom Screen Print promotional branding helped us put together. It's a fabulous tent, and so we pitched that at Helias, I think. Did a fun, I think Burger Smokehouse was along with us, and Coke did something. Coca-Cola did something with us, and we just handed out food like crazy. And Emily was always real game for doing some unusual things. In 2020, Emily and I decided nobody can get out. Let's make a funny T-shirt and just get some social media going so that people can just talk. Students can just talk, and so we had kind of a funny T-shirt that Jeff DeLong helped us put together, and so we tried to just keep communication open.
Toilet paper rolls for the 2020. It had the 0 was represented by toilet paper. So
yeah, it had masks and gloves, and they had all the essentials. That's what it was called. That graduating class was graduating with all the essentials. Another thing that we did in the community that's just a precious time is when we had the tornado, and a lot of trees were down, a lot of old established trees, hardwood. So we partnered with Alice Longfellow and got trees. We bought trees, and we bought good ones, hardwoods, natives. things that would be long lasting, that would be shade trees. And I remember going to it's down the road. What is the name of that town? It was one of our first ones. They're in the magazine. Boy, howdy. Anyway, it came from that direction, from the lake direction. Eldon. We went to Eldon, and it was a man's home. And they had lost a huge tree and had so much damage. And they had a really interesting story about how the roof was just taken off of their house when they were in it. But it was a lot of fun to go. Well, I had fun. You had work.
Yeah. I had fun digging holes.
Yep. You and Megan from Longfellows would go and dig all the holes. I would just get to be on the video. But we did one at the new Special Olympics buildings had just been built. They got hit. That was an interesting video to watch, because our security cameras caught the tornado rattling the doors. And so we planted a tree at their new building, their new location, Donnie Braun's. We were out at Donnie Braun's and planted a big old tree out there. There were a number of homes on the East End that were devastated. So that was really near and dear to my heart.
We did one at Capital City High School
yes,
with their very first class, which was going to be their very first graduating class. So we did one there, and that tree is still there to this day. We did one at Russellville High School, and that was in memory of a young man who had passed away from the school.
Yes, we did a few, and we would continue doing that now. When a student athlete from the magazine has passed for some reason, we've probably done maybe 3 or 4.
Did one for Elias
memorial trees just in their memory, and that's an important thing. It's an important thing for the family. I think we get pretty connected with these athletes.
Yeah, and I think one of the main focuses again with the magazine is that we want to focus on the student athlete and our advertisers, and one thing that you'll notice is that we do not try to put ourselves out there, and so that is not our desire whatsoever. Our desire is to have a family friendly magazine that parents can put on their coffee tables, and they can brag on their kids with their coworkers, with their family. We just enjoy doing that part of it. One of the things that our daughter does is that after each issue, the kids that she does the photography sessions with, she makes available to them their photographs free of charge.
Which is a big perk, because I can tell you that some of these young people, their families may not be able to afford senior pictures, and this is just a way that we can give back to those student athletes and their families for allowing us to come in there
and that's one of the other things too, is that we try to create a personal experience by going to the schools and doing those photo shoots with them, pulling up to the school. The student athlete feels special. We're taking time with them. We're doing those photography sessions, getting to know them a little bit, and then be able to give back to them a little bit. We want to make it personal, so that's what we really enjoyed about it for all these years, getting to know the kids. And I'm telling you, I'll be out in the community, whether it's at one of the restaurants and one of them's working there, or seeing one of the student athletes somewhere else. You might go back again another time, and you've done a magazine previously with one of the student athletes, and they come up and talk to you. Hey, how are you doing? So it's pretty neat. It's fun to be able to do that and just interact with them. So
well, I know a lot of people probably don't know our daughter and son-in-law, Kate and Jay Gill. Jay writes the final page, and he's such a great writer. He's just a neat guy. They're both local. Grew up, born and raised here in Jeff City, and Jay's he's just got a really great personality. In fact, I think you will probably be on One Nation with him next week, and he's got a lot of fun things to talk about. But they come back. They drive 16 hours back from Colorado, where they're currently located now, and our 5 grandkids. And 4 dogs usually travel with them, but this time
Only
we
2.
only have 2.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So.
But when they come back, Kirk and Kate and Jay jump into the 4-door Mini Cooper loaded with snacks and all the photography gear that they need, and they will do approximately 60 plus
45 to 50.
45 to 50 photo shoots in just a very short amount of time. So there's lots of laughs. You guys come back exhausted every day, but there's all kinds of laughter that goes on, lots of fun times. I'm out with the grandkids doing Jeff City stuff because, we got to do all the Jeff City things, and because Jeff City's awesome, and so that's what we do.
Yeah.
But that's been a lot of fun, and it's a lot of work. We could cut corners and try to do it a variety of other ways, but we choose not to.
That's right.
It's just a part of who we are. It's part of our signature. It's part of what makes sports soccer unique and worth investing in as an advertiser, and worth taking a peek and looking at, reading.
Yeah. And that, and I guess by finishing up here, we'll just go ahead and do that, is that one of the other things that came out of the time right after COVID-19 was this program, One Nation Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. And when we call it that because a lot of times, as you will see, most of the time, as you will see, we have the student athletes that are represented in the magazine, and we do an additional interview with them here live so that you can interact and ask questions, just like we had Ron doing tonight, where he was making some different comments. But it's really it's fun to do that, get to know the student athlete on even a more personal level with the audience. And we ask we do a speed round at the very end typically, and I might even ask you a speed round question here in a minute. Wow. So we might do that. But it's been good. We've also had on this program just this last week, we had Matt Marr, who just came to Jefferson City at Redemption Inside the Walls concert here this past Saturday, and had him on this program last Monday night, and that was a lot of fun, and it was good to be able to see him out there at the fairgrounds. Great concert. We've had Ozzie Smith from the St. Louis Cardinals, who was, from me growing up, that was the guy that was my role model for shortstop playing baseball. I mean, I didn't see that there was anybody else like them, so that was fun. We had Neil Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs, Kimball Anders from the Kansas City Chiefs. We had the Libert sisters. One of them was Sarah was playing professional soccer in Mexico, and that is the most viewed program we've ever had on here. Well over 26,000 views, and I'm telling you, a lot of those were coming from the country Mexico. Yeah, that was funny. They were wanting to know why Sarah wouldn't answer their messages. So,
because most of them were gentlemen.
Yeah, a lot of them were men. Look, I don't know, but they were trying to reach Sarah. So we've had lots of unique and fun opportunities on here, and we look forward to doing this every Monday night. And before we close out, I want to just quickly have our sponsor video, CNS Employment Solutions. I want to just do that quick promotion, and then we'll be back to wrap it up.
CNS Business Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977. Recently, CNS rebranded to CNS Employment Solutions to more clearly define their mission of serving the needs of applicants, employees, and businesses while remaining current and evolving with the changes in the workforce. One important thing has not changed. CNS Employment Solutions partners with a wide variety of employers, placing employees in jobs that match their skills and needs.
Say yes to CNS.
All right, CNS Employment Solutions, they've been with us from the beginning, and we really appreciate Paula and her team, all the hard work that they put in, helping people to find jobs and helping employers to find people to fill those jobs. So
they're good at it.
Yeah, if you know somebody needs a job, have them contact CNS Employment Solutions.
It's a great place to start.
Yeah, we also have Big Whiskey's sponsors, our Coach of the Issue, And I'm turning to that here real quick.
Which is a fabulous place to eat.
And we have in this issue Joel Henley. And what the neat thing about this is that we are able to, through the sponsorship of Coach of the Issue, we're able to give a little recognition to the coaches that do such time-consuming, hard work, just pouring into the student athletes right here in mid-Missouri. And a lot of times, all that work and that time away from their family just, it goes unnoticed.
It does.
And so we really appreciate both of our sponsors for this program. We're going to wrap it up. I'm just going to go ahead and have a little fun here real quick. A couple speed round questions. And I already know the answer to this, but you may not know the answer to this. Angela,
I hope I know the answer to this.
what is your favorite go-to ice cream?
Oh my goodness, Cold Stone. Everybody knows that. Although Central Dairy is awesome in Jeff City if you want something big and wonderful. And but I do like Cold Stone. And we personally know almost everybody that works in there.
And they personally know what we usually order.
They just want to know what size. Are you like it or you love it today, Mrs. DeMars?
Yeah.
I like coffee, half mocha, mixed together with chocolate shavings and pecans. That is my go-to.
That's her go-to. And occasionally she'll say, "Can I try a sample of that?"
Yeah, but I never do anything. I don't get off script.
No. And I don't get off script on mine either. It's mocha with pecans and maraschino cherries. And you might say, why maraschino cherries? Because canned cherries are not the same.
No.
It's totally different. So,
yep.
That's
well,
there you
easy
go.
One.
Now you know that. And
that's it? That's a speed round?
Well, that's one. And, the next one, I would say the next one would be, what is the least favorite chore that you like to do around the house?
The least favorite chore.
Let's put it back to when you were growing up. I know you like to do a lot of cleaning stuff.
Dishes.
Dishes.
Yeah, but see, now I like it because I get a little Mrs. Meyer going in there with some aromatherapy, and I'll put on some music, and so it's almost like spa time for my hands. I really have to mentally make it something just glorious, and so.
There you go.
I love being home, and I love cleaning and decluttering and organizing. I'm very administrative, which some of you probably who know me are shaking your head. Yes, she's administrative, but I love being home, and I just love almost everything about home. Yeah. So.
Well, and I'm going to close this out by just saying, and I love you.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
There you go.
Yes.
It's forever on the internet now. You can
It
pull that up if ever I don't say it enough. So, all right. Hey, and speaking of that, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on these Monday nights on Sports Locker Magazine, One Nation, and SLM Extra. We enjoy our time with you. We enjoy bringing this content as well as all the different interviews that we do. We hope you have a great night, and we look forward to spending some time with you next week. Until then, God bless you, and we'll see you then.